Okay, maybe now. Hello everyone. Is this working? Let's see. No, no working. Oh God. Okay, so I'm live. Am I live? What is going on? Oh, hello. Hi there. Apparently I'm live. So let's see whether this is working. Um, Hopefully it is, because I can see at least what I had on. Yeah, okay. It's just a little bit laggy. Hello everyone. So, just a few minutes late. I don't know what happened. I tried to stream this and it wasn't doing it. And then it decided to do it. YouTube stuff. So, the title of the stream is Retro Gaming is Awesome in 2025 and Modern Gaming is Awesome in 2025. And I'll leave the video like this and do just a podcast type of thing and see if someone pops in and wants to talk about this stuff. Unfortunately, the channel is back at a state where like there's not activity, but it is what it is. Maybe someone will watch later, or maybe someone will jump in the middle of the monologue. And so what I want to discuss today is just uh, how far things have come, generally speaking, from my own point of view. I understand that probably for a lot of people, gaming sucks today or something like that. And I'm not here to say the contrary, like if gaming sucks for you, or if, depending on how. And it's not even just a matter of, I'll go into all of this, it's not just a matter of uh, taste, right? It's more a thing of how are you looking at this? Because I could say also that gaming sucks, building a new computer is super expensive, we don't own our games anymore, and this and that. The consoles suck. I mean, I'm saying modern gaming suck. Modern gaming is awesome, right? But I don't own a current gen console. And you know, I used to like consoles, but one of the very, very old um, videos that I made on my channel was about how awesome consoles are. And it was me showing a Mega Drive on a CRT TV, right? And I was just talking about how consoles are simple and very reliable. I mean, I bought this Mega Drive kind of like broke, and I got scammed in a uh, in a flea market, right? I bought this Mega Drive, and then figures I come home and go play the Mega Drive, and it doesn't work. It's it just keeps resetting itself, and you can't play a game. So I just opened it up and took a look, and it was fine inside. It was just very dirty on the outside, so I'd give it a good clean. And I found out that the reset button was had some sand stuck in there in the between the button and the shell. So after cleaning that, it was working perfectly. So I was scammed by the guy because he definitely knew the thing was not working. I bought it. I didn't buy it. I bought it cheap for a working one, but expensive for a not working one. I mean, you decide what how it was in the end, right? That was about what, 12 years ago, 10 years ago, 10 no, not 12 years ago, 10 years ago maybe. Again, I don't know when exactly I started YouTube. I don't know how long it has been. I figure probably 10 years. But so we've come a long way, and nowadays, if you buy a broken PlayStation 4 in a flea market, you can be sure it's going to be broken. And if you even if you buy one that's working, maybe it's going to be broken pretty soon. I'm pretty sure if you buy a PlayStation 4 today and a working PlayStation 4 today and a broken Mega Drive, right? You fix the Mega Drive, and then the Mega Drive is just gonna keep working for a long time. Like you change the capacitors and whatever, and it's gonna keep working for a long, long time. And the PlayStation 4 is probably gonna break in a few years. So if all of these things are so bad, like why am I saying that retro gaming is awesome and uh, modern gaming is awesome? So I'll go kind of step by step. But one of the things that I was really thinking about, because I bought this Victus gaming notebook, and it's an entry-level notebook. It cost me 650 euros. And it has this screen that is a low quality screen. It's IPS, but it only has something like, I don't know how much it was, 75% NTSC coverage or 90% NTSC coverage. But that means like 68% sRGB coverage, which is garbage, right? But then I look at the screen and I see what the problem is. Like it lacks reds. Like the reds are not represented properly, and so many colors are off. Again, especially in the red. But I was looking at this screen and watching Netflix and playing different games, playing Celeste and playing what are other game I was playing? The Outer Worlds and Control. And I was thinking, damn, like this screen is actually pretty good. Oh, hey, dude. Hey, Potion. How are you doing, man? All is very good. I'm just talking about my current realization of how mostly technology has moved forward, right? Again, just talking about this screen. And I was just remembering, I bought a very good gaming laptop some 14, 15 years ago. 14 years ago, probably. 15? Around there. And I am completely sure that screen was much inferior to this one in this notebook that is an entry-level one that's pretty bad. You know. And so, in the end, even entry-level stuff today is so good compared to what you used to get many years ago. And and then I started just thinking about it because when you talk about retro gaming and modern gaming, right? And the retro gamers, they would tell you back then, I don't know what they say today, but they would tell you back then how a CRT TV is so much better than an LCD. And to play Mega Drive, Super Nintendo, Neo Geo, you know, NES, even Atari probably. It is true because the games were made for that screen. And so the games do look better on that screen. But they will argue, or they will say, I'm not ditching retro gamers and what they said about these screens, but just follow me here for a second. Like, they would say that, a CRT is brighter, that a CRT has lower lag, lower latency, right? It's basically zero latency. And, the colors are great and everything. And that was absolutely true. Like 15 years ago, even if you bought a pretty expensive LCD, the brightness was low, the colors were off, the response times were awful, the black levels were terrible. Nowadays, IPS has very good black levels. And if you get a if you get an OLED, like it's basically perfect. And you know how much an OLED screen costs today? Like you can buy these OLED gaming monitors that are 1440p, 27-inch, 240 hertz OLED for $500, right? And so it was absolutely true that the CRT TVs were better at gaming than the LCDs 15 years ago. But today, even if you want to play Mario, you can play that on even on an IPS. I have shown it on my old channel using filters and everything. And I'm not saying it's better or as good as a CRT TV, but you can get really far nowadays, right? Even on an IPS panel. But by the time you're getting to an OLED, like I'll argue it's better. It's better color coverage. You have more colors. The black levels are perfect, just as that of a CRT. You have no, the image doesn't stay, but you don't have flickering and, the problems that the CRT have. And so, I mean, you have the same problem of burn-in, but it's amazing. It's amazing, and it's not even that expensive anymore. And we're talking about really, really high quality displays for 500 to $600, right? On a They come on a stand that has swivel, and you can use tate mode, and has usually a USB hub in there too, and all those things. And there's no latency. And then I was talking about latency, right? Which is also an advantage that retro gaming had, or not retro gaming, that the old consoles had. You were usually playing with 33 millisecond late delay in your image, right? 33 milliseconds between pressing a button and something happening on the screen. And for a while, modern gaming was high latency, right? It really was. Uh, Even when you got into PlayStation, there are many PlayStation games that I don't want to play because they're laggy. A game that gave people a lot of trouble, gave Nintendo a lot of trouble, I mean, was Zelda. I don't know which one. I think it was Ocarina of Time. They put it on the service that they have, right? To play their old games and everything. And people were complaining it was laggy. But the problem is they added just a few frames of lag on top of emulation lag. And then the Nintendo Switch has a frame of lag independently of what game it's playing. It has an extra frame compared to all other platforms. But then the game was laggy to begin with. And so it started getting to that 9 frames, then, into that 9 frames uh, at 60 frames per second, right? So what is that? You're bordering the 20, not 20, but 15, 140 milliseconds, you're over 1/10 of a second off delay between you pressing a button and something happening on the screen. And so people start really noticing it by then. And we were talking about Nintendo 64. And again, PlayStation games, I'm not sure which one, Alien Trilogy or something like that. But there are many PlayStation games that had quite high input lag. And PC games often had high input lag because of many different, you know, design decisions paired with poor displays and, you know, uh, poor technology overall. That all has changed nowadays. If you think about low latency, it's the most modern games, and not all of them, but a lot, but many of them. Not all of them, but a ton of very recent games will let you play at very high frame rates. And if you get like a good keyboard and mouse or just a very good controller and a good PC and a good screen and you're playing, these games have something like 3 frames uh, of lag, 3 in-game frames of lag, which is something, most games on the NES, Super NES are between 2 and 3, and these games will have that same amount of in-game lag, 3 game frames until something happens. But then you're running the game at 240 frames per second. So in 20 milliseconds, which is a little bit more than 1 frame, you have something happening on screen, sometimes even less than that. So it's faster than an Atari 2600. It's faster than the fastest NES game. But you're playing this high fidelity game on your screen. But when you move the mouse around, like it's one to one, like it's perfect, it's amazing latency, right? I haven't tested it, but I have been playing some games on my new notebook, and I put the settings on low. The Outer Worlds, for example, put the settings on low mostly. Just the textures at medium and everything else on low, I think. The game looks good, even on low, and it just runs very well, right? There are stutters because of loading and stuff like that, loading textures or just the computer thinking. I don't know. The game is not very well optimized, but even so, because you can run it at high frame rates, the response times become very good. And the game is good, right? And so these are all these technical aspects of modern gaming that, really for a while they were a problem. They really were a problem for PC games and for even modern console games. And these problems are going away. Like these things are getting solved, right? I mean, display technology has gone like a long, long, long way to a point where I don't miss not having a CRT anymore at all. Like I don't want to see like I really don't want a CRT. If someone came up with me like, "Oh, you want the CRT TV for free or something?" I would say yes, but I would put it in the basement and I would not touch it because I'm not gonna waste all that space, and have something that's unhealthy for me and for my eyes. Uh, you know, just for what? Because the quality of the displays that I have, even cheap ones, are so good. And so that's one aspect that is amazing. Now, one thing I'll have to concede, right? To a lot of people, they used to have the consoles and the CRTs and everything. So they already had everything original back then. And in that sense, 20 years ago, retro gaming was much, much better than it is today if you were someone collecting cartridges. So I get it. Like you know, if that's where you are coming from, I completely understand that you will say, well, Leo, you're crazy. Retro gaming today is garbage, right? Because we used to have everything working 20 years ago. and it was so easy to get anything you wanted, and it was so cheap. And fine. The problem is, to me, coming from Brazil, in Brazil, I did not have easy access to these games somehow. Like I wouldn't see any NES or Super NES games in a flea market or anything. I'd have to go hunting them. I don't know how, but I didn't. I only played the games that I already had. But then I moved from my parents' house and I took with me my computer, but I didn't take a television. I didn't have a television to play consoles on. And so starts that problem, right? Like I would have my PC, but I was playing back in the year 2000 or 2005 maybe. I was playing Super Nintendo emulation on my computers and stuff like that. Oh boy, that was not great. Yeah, I'm talking about, yeah, year 2005, that's 20 years ago. It really wasn't great. Uh, I mean, it was so hard to find good controllers back then. I'll get into that. The emulation was just not very good, right? And all these things. And so, from someone who's trying to retro game, to play old games, but do that in modern technologies, in modern computers or consoles or whatever. Oh boy, did we come a very, very, very long way. I mean, let me tell you, I used to watch YouTube a long time ago, back then, when it was beginning and you couldn't make money on YouTube and all those things. And uh, sorry, okay, and so one of my favorite channels was Satoshi Matrix. It was this guy who would make reviews of controllers, you know, and it's it was so just let me check the chat here that everything's fine. Is it? Is everything okay here? Okay, okay, okay. It's live chat. Okay, everything is correct. Sorry about that. And so finding a controller that you could plug into your computer to play these games in a authentic way was such a hassle, man. What 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 existed? What was out there? You know the controllers that we had for PCs back then? It's like those Logitech. You guys remember those Logitech controllers that you used to have for PC gaming? Like they kind of look like a PlayStation controller with a floating D-pad, but that D-pad's not very good. Nothing about that controller is actually very good. And it's the old standard uh, for USB controllers, you know, from way back. It was not like playing with a controller on PC used to suck back in the year 2000, 2005. It sucked. Like PC gaming was all about mouse and keyboard. If that's not what you wanted, like there were games you could play with a controller, but it was generally speaking not a good experience. It was just not a good thing. Uh, and so the things started slowly changing, right? I remember when the iBuffalo controller got released, and there was this Review Tech USA also used to make some reviews of that kind of stuff, you know. And just thinking nowadays about the iBuffalo and the Tommy controller that released the USB Super Nintendo controller, and just remembering the kind of reviews that I used to watch on YouTube and the products I was interested in 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Dude, we were buying Retrons, right? The Super Retron, Super Retron 3 or something like that, right? Like we were buying these clone consoles with wrong sound, bad video quality, crappy controllers, right? Until analog came to the scene and started making these accurate, emulation consoles. And then 8BitDo started making those controllers, right? And PC started working with console controllers just like that, right? Like without you doing anything. You don't have to like even a PlayStation 5 controller, as far as I understand, you just put a plug it into a USB cable, plug it into your computer, and it's gonna work. As far as I understand, it does. If I'm wrong, you tell me. But definitely the Xbox controller. And listen, as a retro gamer, this alone to me is an amazing thing. The Xbox 360 controller was the standard PC controller 15 years ago, right? So I was getting into Street Fighter and I asked people like, what controller can I get to play Street Fighter? And someone online, and I hate that person, they told me to buy an Xbox 360 controller because it would work. And it technically will work, but that D-pad was awful. I mean, the controller was really good for playing with the analog sticks. The Xbox 360 controller is epic. It's amazing. It's really great. It was, you know, for its time, a really awesome controller with great analogs and great comfort. It really pushed Sony to change their design because they were lazy. They made the DualShock controller for the PlayStation, which was huge. It was great. But then they just kept it on the PlayStation 2 and the PlayStation 3 without basically changing the design at all. It took Microsoft to show, hey, you know, this can be way better for Sony to start actually, you, you know, doing something about it. And I'm glad they did because the PlayStation 4 controller is amazing and the PlayStation 5 controller is amazing and the Xbox One controller. Maybe some people don't like it, but it redeemed itself completely to me. That D-pad, might not like clicky D-pad, whatever, fine, but it's actually precise. You can play any game. If you get used to it, like just objectively speaking about the precision of the controller, you can play any game with it. You can play any game with that D-pad. It's really well thought out. It's really well done. And so, I mean, it's easy now. Nowadays, you want to play a game like Celeste, you know, you have dozens, if not hundreds of controllers to choose from that have good D-pads of any kind you want. Floating D-pad. I mean, 8BitDo is responsible for a lot of that, right? But Hardy's also been doing, and Hardy has been around, have been making good controllers. It's just that nobody talks about them. The old stuff from them were like hidden gems and little gems because they're like the gem pad. I have the gem pad for the Xbox 360 and for the PlayStation 3. Has a great D-pads, great they are great for, platformers or D-pad games, whatever they are, right? Um, but who know? Do you guys know about the gem pad? I'll re-review it on my channel now that I destroyed the old channel and all those reviews went down, right? But it's a great it's a great controller. It's a great and but back in the day nobody was talking about it. And it's also why me another reason why for me personally a retro game not a retro game, sorry. Modern gaming is so good nowadays. It's because these old school games, these arcade games and platforming games that I love so much, that I grew up with, and I never stopped loving them. But they were abandoned, right? In the PlayStation, there were few that were any good, and nobody cared about that. In PlayStation 2, nobody would spend AAA money or if not AAA money, like nobody would seriously, or very few people would seriously sit down and make an amazing 2D platformer for the PlayStation 2, right? Like this was revived in the last 10 years. And to me, that's awesome. So just to close on the controllers, right? We really got a long way with Hardy making very good controllers. The Fighting Commander 4 or whatever, Fighting Commander, it's in front of me. The Fighting Commander for the PlayStation 4, that's just the most normal one. And it has an Xbox One version and a Nintendo Switch version. It's amazing. It's really good, right? And Hori did a few other gamepads recently that were very good. And the normal console controllers can be used to play retro games, old games, arcade games, all that kind of stuff. And then we have 8-bit though with this huge variety of controllers covering basically all bases with low latency, wired and wireless and everything, right? So displays are awesome, controllers are awesome, and games are awesome. I mean, I am not saying that people are not right when they complain that we don't own the games anymore. You know, these modern games suck. Like they crash or they're incomplete or they're too expensive. The consoles are too expensive. It's all true, man. It's all true. I don't even own any of the modern consoles. As I said, I don't own a single new generation console, and I don't wanna. I don't want them. I don't like them. I do not like them. But even a cheap gaming notebook has so many great games to play. And I'm not even touching emulation yet. Yet. I will. But right in front of me, I have my installed GOG games, right? Rayman Origins, Shovel Knight, Hollow Knight, uh, The Outer Worlds, The Messenger. I mean, I was playing Celeste, and you know, there are so many great games that we can play now. And maybe not the absolute newest ones, right? It's my it's a position that I am in, that I put myself in willingly. I wanted to be in this position because I knew this would be, I mean, this is the right way for me to approach gaming. Unless it's something online, unless we're talking about playing Fortnite or something like that. I only play old games. Like I only play games that are at least 3 years old because by then it's not only gonna drop in price, but we got all the patches and everything. But more than that, even a cheap computer is gonna play the game. And so I've never played Cyberpunk 2077. I never played. I mean, I never even played Skyrim, and one day I probably will. I own it. I played it a little bit. I played it for like 10 hours, which, I mean, Celeste I finished in 8, but I didn't even start Skyrim in 10 hours. Because 10 hours you don't do anything in Skyrim. Um, which is the reason I don't play it, because I don't want to waste 100 hours. Not right now in one game. But and especially with the indies, there are so many different indie games, right? It's not just Mario clones and Street Fighter clones. Even if you think back to the 90s, which is the golden era of arcade games, maybe yeah, the 90s, right? That's the you had the Super Marios and the Street Fighters and the scrolling shooters and stuff like that, like Truxton and you know whatever Raiden, uh, all these games. But back then, it you know the really, really good games were actually not that many. Oh, hey, Albo, I'm sorry, dude. Like, this is kind of funny, but this is kind of sad. Okay. I mean, I'm sorry, man. You have to get a life because I'm just not interested in this stuff, dude. Because I mean, it's too pathetic. I mean, this is too sad, dude. I'm sorry. Like, wow. I mean, I mean, dude, like, you can do better than this. I know you can. I don't know why it's come to this. I really don't know why it's come to this. Okay. But I mean, it has. I have no. I like this. I don't know how you don't see this is humiliating to you. I don't know what world you're living in because I don't watch your videos. I know you tag me sometimes. You think I'm gonna waste my time watching something you do, man? Like I don't I literally don't have words, man. It's just unbelievable. It's like I don't I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say, and I'm not gonna say anything, right? But whatever, man. Yeah, it's kind of tragic. It's kind of sad. It's also sad that one of the few people who watch the channel is, are just a couple guys who wanna go on this, trolling online, whatever. But man, like I I I actually feel sorry for someone who would waste their time like trying to troll a channel that doesn't even have any attention at all. It's like what like go troll someone who's relevant. I don't know what you want to get from me. Yeah, it's unbelievable. But it is what it is. It's fine. So, uh nowadays, yeah, we have fighting games. We have tons of fighting games. Street Fighter 4 revived the entire genre, and it never really completely died. I mean, it kind of died after Street Fighter 4, and I don't really like the new ones. I'll be maybe that is a problem. And if you really loved, yeah, maybe for people who really love Street Fighter 3 and stuff like that, you don't have the arcades anymore. That's a bummer, right? Like that's pretty sad. Playing online is getting better, right? I mean, latency on the servers is getting lower. Like latency playing video games online is actually getting lower. So maybe Street Fighter 6 has playable online experience. I don't know. I haven't even tried to play those games, but I know they release tons of them, and I mean, hopefully some of them are good, but maybe they aren't. I don't know. Shouldn't be talking too much about that. But you know, there are so many platformers that release all the time. There are so many scrolling shooters that are, and there are all these quirky, intelligent, creative indie games coming out all the time that mix genres or create a new genre or just rip off some old game. And the volume is very high, but the quality is also quite high. I mean, even Atari has been doing some pretty cool games, man. I find them good, right? Um, I I played that Yar's Revenge Recharged, and it was a bit lackluster, in the sense that should have been faster paced, because it for an arcade game, uh, it was kind of slow. Generally speaking, a bit not just easy. It's not just about easy, but the pacing was kind of off in some aspects, and it takes yeah maybe starts off a bit too easy, and if it takes too long to pick up the pace, then it's bad to be repeating it to play for a record. But it was well done, man. It's still a fun game, and it's well done. And it's been such a long time since we've seen anything worthwhile from Atari. Of course, they are outsourcing. It's not even Atari. The company doesn't exist anymore. But we still get the games. And I think the quality of the games that I have available for myself are very high. I can't even, play all of the ones that I'm interested in. And so that's definitely a good sign. Of course, I don't play too much, which also helps a lot. If you don't play video games too much, if you play only a couple hours a day and never more than that, um, you're in a better position because you'll not run out of good stuff. Uh, but yeah, really, I like the quality of the games that are available. Now, I will just, you know, go a bit into the entire emulation thing because that's also one of the places where we have the biggest strides. I mean, I bought this Ambernic RG476 Sage, right? And it's amazing. I mean, wow, if I had this 20 years ago, wow. I mean, it plays so well. Like this is so good. And you know, but it's not good. That's the funny thing. You know, it's relatively low latency. I mean, it's not bad for a handheld emulation machine. It works fine. I'm playing Castlevania Symphony of the Night without a problem. I haven't hit any issues. Haven't found any issues. But and also played a few other games a little bit. But I'm playing mostly Castlevania Symphony of the Night right now. But let me tell you, playing that and remembering how software emulation works and everything, and it's very good, don't get me wrong. It's very, very good. It just makes me realize how amazing the Mr. FPGA is to my needs. Like, man, like the filters, the image quality, the the fact that the cores, this is something that's hard to explain, but the core is the core, right? The core is running there, it's installed in the system, and because of I think it's the Epsilon. Thank you very much for update all. Everything gets, of course, you have to back up and install your own ROMs or just copy your own ROMs to the correct folders, right? But otherwise, the entire setup is is made by update all, and most importantly, the arcade cores, everything gets installed by update all, everything, all, also the assets, which is, it's amazing. It's so much because if you ever set up MAME without having an image, you probably know how hard it can be. It's getting better. It actually got a lot better. Another thing that got better the last few years, I haven't found it as hard as I used to set it up nowadays. But yeah, still, uh, everything's set up in a way that you don't have to mess with stuff. And when you have to change what's going on? Why is I see a mouse moving around. Why? What is going on? That's weird. It was a mouse moving around my screen of the stream, but there shouldn't have been. um, Again, the Mr. FPGA does this. I mean, I always try to explain to people who are retro gamers how it feels to use an Mr. FPGA, as it's like using a real console with a scaler like the OSSC plus a flash card. That's what it feels like to me, right? I mean, it's like the console itself. You don't mess with the console itself, right? You have uh these upscaling options and things like that, and then you have the game loading side of things, right? But it's different to emulation, where if you open RetroArch, you have to choose the emulation. I mean, if you may, sometimes depending on what emulator you're using, you open it and you have to choose different options so that the game will run correctly, right? Or when you're using a software emulator, you have to be sure that the machine is powerful enough to run that one, or to take a look whether there is lag or there isn't lag, and what kind of, and that's not, I mean, there are a few things you need to do with the Mister, but to me personally, it's much easier to set up, get going, and have a good experience on the stuff that I have, and just retro gaming to me. And the Mister was cheap, and then it became very expensive, and now it's back to cheap again, which is amazing. So if you want to play, and me, I want to play the games. I'm fine with owning the games, but I don't have to, own a cartridge or anything. That's not my priority. And the Mr. FPGA, if I just want to play the games, like, it's incredible. Again, combined with the fact that nowadays I get good controllers and I get good screens for cheap, like, it's an absolute dream come true. And when I just think about 20 years ago, the struggle that I was going through, and then that today I can finally play those games. And not today, right? For many years, I have been able to play these games without any kind of complication. It's just open, you know, plug the console in, the Mister in, right? Get the controller that I want to use, and it's compatible with basically any of my controllers, including the arcade sticks, which is awesome. And select a game and play it. And so to me as a retro gamer, right, as someone who likes playing the old stuff, combining that with the fact that I can also do that in not as high quality, but very high quality with the Ambernic on the go, like retro gaming to me is basically perfect. Like it's a solved problem. I tried, I really looked, and YouTube to me 10 years ago was all about that, was all about the search for how can I play these games well. I want to play these games. I want to play Super Mario. I want to play, Super Mario World and Super Mario 3. I have already. Super Mario 3 is a game that I played for the first time, like through all the levels that I can. I didn't finish the game. It's too hard for me. Super Mario 2 also, it's too hard. I didn't finish. But I went through most of it, got to the last world, I think, probably, or one of the later worlds, right? Um, and I did it for the first time on the Mr. FPGA because it's so convenient. And I stuck to the games and played them because I really felt like I was playing them in a way that I wasn't being held back by anything, right? Didn't have controller problems or emulation problems or screen problems or anything. And and I still have it, and it still only gets better all the time. And I mean, NES and Super NES and Mega Drive get better only in a way that you'll never perceive because someone comes in and corrects something that only appears in one game at one spot, or even some differences that are not even perceivable feasibly by anyone ever, but they do change these things. But yeah, and again, because I don't play video games that much, because there's modern gaming and retro gaming, both of them, I still have not played through the backlog of interesting games that I want to get to know and play, right? I actually do want to keep testing more games and playing different things. And the other day I was playing Truxton 2 because the arcade game is on Mr. FPGA, and it's a cool game. It's so hard though. Wow, Truxton is brutal because Truxton's like those small fast bullets, and it just kills you, and you die, and then it's over, right? You die once, it's over. Um, well, it's not really, but to me it is because I'm already not good at the game, and then I'm gonna die and lose the power-ups. It's just yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, I'm really, really happy. I mean, when it would be easy. Honestly, like I bought this notebook and I was like, well, I mean, the performance is not great, and and the screen, if I compare it, it's right next to a cheap IPS monitor that I have. It's an IPS screen on the notebook and on the external monitor, right? And it's just showing the exact same stuff. Uh, but I can see the colors are better on the external monitor, right? I can see that. There is a difference. Like the reds are a slightly orange in the notebook. And so I could totally regret, like, oh, I bought this notebook, but the reds are not as red. But seriously, if I'm watching a movie or if I'm playing a game, I don't see it, right? I don't see it. I can't regret this because even if it's relatively bad to what we have available nowadays, I mean, it was cheap. It was really cheap, 650 for a gaming notebook with an RTX 4050 in there. It's really cheap, and it was new with Windows installed. So bought from a store with full warranty and everything. So it's fine. Um, and you know, I was really thinking about this the last few days, which is why I wanted to make a video about this, and I made it a live stream, right? I really wanted to just share this perception that I have that it's like it's crazy. I have been using a mouse that is an Amazon Basics mouse. You know, I used to play Doom with a ball mouse, in the 90s, the late 90s, where you'd have those mice that are, or the mid 90s. Later on we had the late 90s. I think we already had optical, did we? Not sure. But even wh whichever they were mostly garbage. And even this Amazon Basics mouse that is real, it should be crap, right? But it's not. It's just not. I don't know the polling rate, but I know when I'm playing games, I don't have a complaint. I also have a Razer mouse somewhere, but I didn't buy this mouse to play video games, but I play with it, and because it doesn't bother me at all, I just kept it and kept using it, even though I have some other. And you can buy a Logitech for 25 euros, a gaming Logitech gaming mouse with 1000 hertz polling rate. And everything now has 1000 hertz polling rate. Only a few years ago, that was like almost exclusive to a few high-level uh, devices out there, right? Like 8BitDo and a couple other companies were doing that. Nowadays, everything, has 1000 hertz polling rates. I mean, of course, the microcontrollers that can do that are cheap now. The entry-level microcontrollers that you can buy probably can do that. And that was probably not true 10 years ago. You'd have to, get something slightly more expensive and it would raise the price of your product. But technology walks and advances, and then we get access to those things, and everything gets so good, so good. So I'm very happy. I've been gaming, you know, not so much, but frequently, and enjoying. And sure, I mean, I will talk about specifics about specific games that I like and that I don't like. Playing Control, I was like, well, I mean, there's this problem, right, with many games. It's a problem that started. I mean, it always existed, but the more realistic a game can be, the easier it is for developers to fall into this trap where instead of making a game and then finding graphics that fit that gameplay mechanic and, putting up all together, they seem to create a story and seem to create a world and everything, and then they shove in some gameplay that fits that. And even if they have good gameplay ideas, like, you know, I feel like the actual gameplay loop, the actual game part of the thing, uh, it's, you know, it's underdeveloped. Like it could have been better, it could have been more balanced, it could have been more varied, it could be more interesting. And they just don't pay enough attention to that because they're so worried about making these incredible graphics, and they're incredible. Control looks really good. Like such a great looking game. And then the physics completely break any kind of realism that there would have been, and so what's the point? Also, even though this is it's an entry level graphics card, so that's why. Uh, am I? Oh, I think I'm watching the stream in the past. Sorry about my distraction here. That's what happened. Okay, I got it. Sorry, I got distracted because I just realized that I'm playing the stream here on my cell phone, but it's way back. And just let me. Okay, sorry. Again, gameplay to me is you know, is the king, right? I don't have a problem with playing games like Monster Hunter where the story is trash, like there isn't any story. Or Doom, what is the story in Doom? I think the newer Dooms kind of made a story, maybe? Not sure. I don't mind. I don't need a story. I just, I just want to play a fun game. And if there's a nice story, I mean, and if it's integrated into the game, that's good. That's great by me. So no complaints there. Uh, yeah. Again, not everything is roses. In the beginning of the stream, and even in the middle, I did acknowledge many problems that we have and we will keep having. I I just was really actually, as I was playing different games and, reflecting on gaming generally speaking, I just so often caught myself really thinking, wow, like this stuff is nice, right? Like I have so much nice stuff and I didn't even spend a lot of money on it. And I love that. And that's awesome. And I hope you guys can also just enjoy the nice stuff. And just because we can have nice things, don't overspend buying everything. You don't need everything. I have the Legion Go, which is, I didn't even touch that. The fact that those things exist, and sure, as I said, old games, play old games, 3-year-old games and back, and you're gonna be so well served by these handhelds, right? Uh, buy one you like and keep it. Keep it for years, right? It's fine. Like they really work well, and so many of the best games, they're light to run. I mean, I'm not gonna tell anyone what games they should play or not, right? I mean, but that's just it's been my personal uh, approach to this for a long time. If you have no, if you don't have this urge to play the latest games, my life is so much easier being a gamer. It's so much cheaper and it's so much better. And I've been enjoying that a whole lot nowadays, you know. So I would like to know what you guys think. And I thank you for listening, and I'll see you around. Bye. Let's end the stream now.